about?
Just a couple minutes.
We're good.
I will call the meeting to order for August, 15th, 2022. Roll call of the members, please.
Leaders?
Here.
Rick Larson?
Here.
Brett Larson?
Here.
Jill Chapman?
Here.
Dolores Supworth?
Here.
Okay. Let the record show all the members are present.
That's so nice. You've had a chance to read the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes or make corrections?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
It's been moved. A second?
I second it.
Oh,
You
great.
guys have to help me with this part.
All right, that's okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, here is the statement. The public hearings will be conducted pursuant to the Commissioner's Rule of Procedure. We will first hear the report of the Planning Director on the detailed information and observations regarding the request before the Commission, if not done so in written form prior to the hearing. Next, we will take up the testimony of the applicant and his or her witnesses. Upon completion of the applicant's testimony, I will call upon members of the audience wishing to be heard concerning the request. Persons in favor of the request shall be heard first, followed by those opposed to it. At any time during the presentation of testimony, the members of the commission may interrupt to ask questions or to make comments on what has been said. Upon completion of all testimony, the applicant will be allowed to make a closing statement to the commission. Upon completion of the applicant's closing statement, I will entertain a motion from the commission to close the public hearing of the request. The commission reserves the right to ask questions of any member of the audience. However, we will not hear any unsolicited statements unless the public hearing is first reopened. Each speaker addressing this commission shall step forward to the podium and state their name and address before proceeding with their testimony or evidence. This commission shall not be bound by strict rules of evidence, but does reserve the right to exclude evidence or testimony that it may deem to be irrelevant, immaterial, incompetent, or unduly repetitious. As chairman, I will rule on all questions relating to the admissibility of evidence, which may be overruled by a majority of the commission. The commission may request a continuance of a hearing for the purpose of giving further notice, taking further evidence, gathering further information, touring the proposed site, or for such other reasons as the commission may find sufficient. In such case, we shall state the specific reasons for the continuance and set a date, time, and place when the matter will be continued. All official actions of this commission will be made at a public meeting by motion made, seconded, and a polling of the membership. If conditions are imposed, such conditions shall be included in the motion or amendment thereto. Our final decision will be prepared in writing and will be part of the public record of this commission. Okay, so I would ask for a motion to open up the public hearing on our first agenda item.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing for
Second.
case number ZTA 2022-01.
Second.
That's great. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is open.
So this is a case that we are, as the planning department, are bringing forward to the commission for a recommendation to the board of supervisors in regards to a change to the zoning ordinance. Currently, the zoning ordinance does not allow for the keeping of farm animals and fowl in the R3 urban residential and the R5 planned residential zoning districts, or on properties with less than 1 acre of pasture. So the R3 zoning district is primarily on the very outskirts of the city of Council Bluffs. And then the R5 district, I believe, is just risen sun right now. And we're not asking for a change in the R5. It's realistically just for the R3 district. And it would be just for the keeping of urban chickens. We did a lot of research on the city of Council Bluffs currently right now has a permitting process that allows for the keeping of urban chickens. We looked at that. And then we also looked at other areas in the state and a few other states on how they handle the keeping of urban chickens. and ensuring that people really plan for that chicken coop, the manure, being able to maintain them on their property. We've had a few different instances, whether it be on the animal control side or on the zoning enforcement side, where we've gotten complaints, because a lot of times they'll go down to Baumgart's, they'll grab a couple of chickens, inevitably one of them will wind up being a rooster, and then by the time they realize it, it's now a family pet, and they don't know how to get rid of it, or they don't want to get rid of it. And so how do we get them to think about those steps ahead of time? And one of our biggest area concerns with it too really is with the Bent Tree subdivision. Bent Tree has now allowed their covenants to lapse, and we're getting more interest from that area on urban chickens and being able to have them there. They are in an R2 zoning district, but for the most part, most of them have under an acre of pasture. And so we've been able to kind of hold them back on getting them with that in mind right there, because I am afraid that the first person that goes out there and gets their chickens, that their 5 lawyers that live around them are going to start filing lawsuits towards the fact that we have them there. So if we come up with, as we develop the permitting process for them, what this would do is change the language in the zoning ordinance a little bit, add a stronger piece of it in chapter 3.5, the animal control ordinance, for the permitting process of that. And we did a study session with the Board of Supervisors to kind of gain their interest on what it would be, even bringing a recommendation for them. And it's probably going to be about a 50-50 deal on whether or not this makes it past them. They didn't seem to quite understand that even though you're in the rural area, that there are parameters around you being able to have farm animals out there. And it is a little kind of wishy-washy with the state, because they could try to claim that they were ag exempt. But the ag exempt, the way the state has it, is your property has to be primarily adapted to agriculture. And we put that up against, the amount of time each day that they spend dedicated towards their agricultural activities, the amount of money that they bring in towards their agricultural activities compared to another job that they may be going and working, and then the amount of ground that they have. So those people with those really small places, a good example of that is right now we're dealing with a gentleman. He's got 3 acres is all he owns. Right now, I think he has 39 cattle on that 3 acres with his house.
Oh, boy.
And so he's got manure running down the road. The cows are constantly getting out. They're drinking out of the neighbor's pool and everything. And he's trying to say, well, I'm ag exempt. I live in the rural side of it. But
Tax.
Yeah, but there's those rules that
we can put him,
you spend 90 or whatever the percentage is out working with them, then you become ag exempt.
yeah. So, he's able, luckily a lot of those situations we get into, people can go to their neighbors and lease ground from them. Especially, it's not so much around the chicken side of it, but it's more around the horse side of it. They'll go lease ground, or, cows will lease ground to be able to do this. That's why on this, we're really strictly keeping it towards just that chicken aspect of it. And how do we be able to permit them to have that? Think about how the setbacks would affect their property. Think about their manure management plan, because those chickens will probably produce more manure than they can use on their lot, what it would do. So the initial permit fee would be $125. That would cover us to go out and do a site inspection of it, see when the coop's all the way up, and then it'd be a renewal fee of $75 every year for them to renew that part of it. The section of code that would change is under the accessory uses portions, and that's included in your staff report. It's kind of got some redlined portions in there. That's the new code that we would be looking to add. And
Is there any way that we can put in there that we want to make sure that we don't have chicken fighting started? I see that happening.
I agree. It's it's one of those, I feel like it's one of those slippery slope things it's almost a little bit, as the organic pieces have come up, people think that they're gonna, save a lot of money by having urban chickens. But if they really look at it, you're not really saving yourself any kind of funding.
So this will, so like Bentry said it lapsed their covenants, that means there's no covenants now for Bentry?
Correct.
So people that may think there is, that's not official anymore, like you can do whatever you want.
That's what we've been told, yeah.
So the chickens, so that's R2, right?
There is a small, one road in Bentry coming off of Highway 6.
Okay, yeah,
Is
the one next-
R3.
Yeah.
The rest of it is R2.
So what about, was it Cloverleaf or Cloverfield, or what is it down the street?
Those are R3.
That's R3. So right now, if there's chickens in that area, they're not legally allowed, right?
Correct.
So I know people have chickens in that area.
There's a lot of them out there.
So if you live in a farmhouse,
good.
but not farm land, you just bought farm acreage,
Mhm.
which might be 5 acres, can they have chickens
Yes,
today?
because you got 5 acres, you're not gonna be in it.
So anything under
An acre.
Under an
pasture,
acre.
Right?
Yeah,
Just pasture?
1 acre,
Or your entire property?
no, just pasture.
but
So
2 acres though, right? 2 acres.
2 acres. More than likely with 2 acres, if you take, when we look at this, we'll take out their house, their buildings, their driveway.
Uh-huh.
We want to simplify that process to where we just say, behind the house, we would consider your pasture. So we don't have to sit there and map it all the way out and around, because there's people that would get themselves into that situation where they're trying to fence off every little inch they have to say this is pasture.
So 2 acres or more, they can or cannot have it today.
In the R2's district, you can.
And that's at Clover, what's it called again? Clover?
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, Richfield Loop. What's that called, that addition?
Cloverleaf.
Yeah,
Cloverleaf?
so that's R2, that one.
That's R2, so most of those are 2 acres plus. So right now,
You got an acre of pasture out there, you can have chickens.
but right now, they can have a chicken.
Yes.
Okay, as long as they applied for it, or not?
No, they wouldn't even need to apply for
We
it.
want them to have to apply for it.
No,
This
only
is
if they have, so if they have under an acre of
Only
pasture,
under.
yeah. So
1
if
acre.
you're
Just
sitting there,
pasture.
if you're sitting there on a 2 acre lot
We just-
in an R2 district, more than likely, you're not gonna have to have a permit from us.
Okay, it's just Bentry.
But if you're sitting on an acre and a half and you wanna get chickens, you're gonna need a permit from us.
So
'Cause
Bentry.
by the time you take all that out, you got less than an acre of pasture.
So this is, yeah.
Is this strictly chickens?
Strictly chickens.
No peafowl, no guineas, no ducks?
We defined it out in there as Gallus domesticatus. That is the term for just your hen laying,
Just
egg laying chicken.
Plain old chickens?
Yes.
Okay.
There's several, because we thought, peacocks, I mean, there could be people that get all kinds of,
Yeah.
you wanna get ducks, we were asked, well, are you gonna put ducks in there? No, we're not gonna put ducks in there. It's just for just the chickens.
Chickens. I'm curious what an urban chicken looks like. Are they different than rural chickens?
Yes.
They're different.
Are they really? I mean, I have no idea. I'm
They're
just like,
mean.
you're saying urban chickens.
They're cleaner.
And in Council Bluffs.
They know how to go
you
in
can
and out of
get
the house.
permits
I
to
don't
have
know.
In Council Bluffs, you can get a permit to have chickens, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
chickens. In Omaha, you can.
right.
Yeah.
Omaha's pretty cheap.
No roosters though,
It's
right?
like, I don't even know if.
And
they charge
Council Bluffs is cheaper than us too. The reason for our cost, so when we look at the cost of a permit, we have to gauge about halfway to the county, what's that travel time and everything gonna take, and back for an inspection, and really 2 inspections. That figures out personnel time, vehicle travel and all that, it's about $210. That's what our septic and well permits cost. So when I originally went to the board, I had brought up a $250 permit fee, is what I would like to charge, to be able to do this, because then it really would make it then a user-defined permit. The user would be supporting this, to be able to have chickens, on there. But the board felt like that was too high. City council was at $75, and that's really too cheap for us to be able to cover much of any kind of expense on the personnel side. So I just settled on $125. And we're not gonna have to add an inspector to do this. We have personnel that's available, it's just gonna take some of their time from other duties that may have been done.
Well, I'm an advocate for people growing their own food and knowing where their food comes from. So I think making it allowable for people to have chickens is a really good thing. But what caught my eye as I read this was that that's a pretty expensive permit. That you're limited to 10 chickens and you're gonna fork over $75 a year. I think I can go buy a chicken prepared and ready to roast for $7.50.
$4.99 Sam's Club.
Right?
Already
Well,
cooked.
that one's cooked.
Already cooked.
Right.
Or Costco.
So to me, that seems kind of a lot of money. Now, I understand the cost of time, for your staff and personnel as well, but.
This seems like it would weed out. If you're really serious about doing it, you're willing to pay that money and have your legal chickens too, as far as, yeah,
Illegal chickens?
no,
Yeah.
the ones you fight. Just to have it legally, so you're legally got all your stuff, you've been inspected, if you're serious about it, to me, the $125 would be, you're willing to do it, because you really want them.
It's per year?
No, that's the first year,
Oh,
right?
annual, 75.
Yeah.
75 a year,
But,
but I don't
no,
know.
I would, that would be high
$75
for,
is a lot of money,
yeah.
and if you're growing this for.
That's 34 cents a day. But after the first one, 75.
But 10's the
That's 20
maximum,
cents a
right?
day.
Wow.
Or 12?
12 is the maximum.
12, okay.
I came up with 12 just off of.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly how I came up with
1
it.
acre or less, right?
I'm like, because there were some that had 4, and then there were others that had mathematical equations to sit there and go out. And I'm really just trying to simplify the process and keep it minimal staff time involved as we can. And just say, listen, if you have this much, we're not gonna drop you from 4 or from 12 any less. You can have 12.
But would it matter the size of their coop? Because you're supposed to have a certain amount of floor space per hen.
It does have, in the animal control ordinance, we do have all that figured in. I think it's 2 square feet per hen is what the going rate was.
Okay.
Is this the proposed or is this the normal, or what is this application? Is
That's
this
the proposed one.
proposed, okay.
And it would be available online. We'd put it on our online permits, just like we have for dog licensing and things. So that way, they don't even necessarily have to make the trip into town. If they want to file the permit, they can file it online. We'll go out and set up and do the inspection with them, and then they'll be off and running with their chickens.
What's the dog license cost?
I think it's up to $22 if they're
And they're
unfixed.
fixed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that's something that hasn't been adjusted since in the inception in 2006. So it's due to adjust.
Can I move to close the public hearing?
Next second.
Third. I'm just reading them now.
Is there anybody else that wanted to come forward? We're not here to talk about.
There was me.
They're watching Dad in action.
Oh, it's nice, you bring your family.
Yeah.
Good. Dinner must be after this.
I have a school board meeting later too, so. Join the fun.
We have a motion and second to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Any more discussion among us?
I'm good.
I don't know.
There,
I guess not, no. Oh, you want me to make a motion? Is that what
Yeah,
you're waiting
sure.
on? Okay, I'll
Oh,
do the
sure.
motion.
Assistant Chief.
move to, your motion is to,
I guess, what exactly does the motion need to be? To move it forward to the Board of Supervisors? Is that what we're doing here?
Yes.
So that'd be my motion.
Second it.
motion and second, roll call vote.
Dolores Silkworth,
Yes.
Jill Chapman,
Yes.
Brett Larson,
Yes.
Rick Larson,
Yes.
Lynn Leaders.
Yes.
Okay, that has been approved. Mr. Director, is there any other business?
No other business for the commission.
I moved to adjourn.
Second.
Moved in second, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.